This video is brought to you by Greater Commons. Greater learning, greater opportunities, greater life. Visit us at greatercommons.com.
So I'm going to show you how to do variables in the Go programming language. And you have a short declaration operator. So the short declaration operator is something you could use inside a code block. So this syntax right there, the colon equal, which kind of looks like the Punisher, if you know that comic series. Or you might also think it looks like a gopher, its eyes and its teeth. Or you might think it looks like a colon and an equal sign. The short declaration operator allows you to declare and assign a value to a variable. And there's a couple of words going on there. You have declare, and so declare, assign, and initialize is just some programming terminology that you should be aware of. And the other thing is you have a value, you have a variable, and you have a type. I'm going to put that there. So these are some words that you should know. To declare a variable, we'll learn all these words as we go through it. I'll come back and revisit them. But Go is very much about types because it's statically typed. It's not dynamically typed. Statically typed means that, if I have a variable and it holds a value of type int, then that variable can only hold a value of type int. I've declared this variable is holding a type int. It has to hold a type int. Anyhow, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Short declaration operators. First thing you want to know, and it only works inside a code block. Wrong vowel there. Only works inside a code block. Code black. It's code black. Only works inside code black. Only works inside a code block. X equals 42. And then here's X. Format and check imports. So pull in any imports that you want. You could click share and you could get a link to share this. And so there's the link if you want to check out this code and play with it. And then I could click run and it runs it and it prints out 42. And I am at Golang Playground. Cool? All right, X equals 42. That's how you do variables inside of a code block. The type is automatically assigned. And I'm going to use format printing. And you can learn about format printing at the FUMPT package. So godoc.org /FUMPT is the FUMPT package from the standard library. If you go to golang.org, inside of golang.org, I scrolled a little bit too much. Inside of golang.org, right? This is the official website of the Go programming language. Go to documents, and you could go to the language specification, package documentation. And inside package documentation, you have all of the documentation for the standard library, the code that was written for you by the masters that you can use free of charge. And so golang.org has documentation for the standard library. Okay? Godoc.org has documentation, same documentation for the standard library is at godoc.org and at godoc, because this is just some website built by some person, and at godoc.org you also have third-party package documentation. So code that other people who weren't like the official, working on Golang, they wrote programs like if I wanted a UUID, right? And I could find packages with UUIDs and look at the documentation. That's Godoc, standard library, and third party. And Golang is just the standard library, standard official stuff. All right, so we have the short declaration operator where it declares and assigns a value and it figures out the type. And I'm using format printing and the FUMPT package, which I've closed. The FUMPT package talks about format printing and all the different verbs you could use. So print F right there, print F, format string. So I'm going to give it a format string, and the format string I'm going to give it is %t. And that will tell me the type. If I wanted a new line, I could escape a new line like that. And now it told me that is of type int. The value stored in this variable, variables hold values, the value stored in this variable is of type int. And if you want to see all the types in the Go programming language, you want to go to golang.org. And then at golang.org, click Documents, and then go down to language specification, and then inside the language specification you have all the types. So there are all the types. And we were just looking at a numeric type, and if you click into the numeric types, you're going to see a whole lot of numeric types. This is a little bit overwhelming for some people when they first hit it. They're like, oh dear Lord, I have to figure out all this stuff. Mostly, you just use int and float 64. Okay, and this other stuff is just for really special situations. An int is the same size as a uint, right? And a uint is either 32 or 64 bit, and a uint is machine specific. So to avoid portability issues, all numeric types are distinct except byte, which is an alias for uint, and rune, which is an alias for int32. Conversions are required when different numeric types are mixed in an expression or assignment. Where is it? They also reset the product. Numeric types. Hold on, let me find it. Okay, so it's right here. Implementation specific sizes. Like, they do not waste any words describing the code programming language. This thing is like a Zen cone. It's very efficient. And so there's also a set of pre-declared numeric types with implementation specific sizes. That means if you use int, it's the same size as a uint, and a uint is either 32 or 64 bits, depending upon the machine which you're on. Kind of interesting. Anyhow, int and float 64, and unsigned is a uint, means it's just the positive numbers, okay? Just the positive numbers. Anyhow, the main thing that you should be learning here, I'm just giving you a few extra details, is the short declaration operator will declare a variable to hold a certain type. So x is going to hold the type int, and it'll sign the value, short declaration operator, okay? And we could see that type with format printing. So another way that we could, initialize a variable is we could declare var xy is of type int. Var y is of type int. We've declared it. And if I print out y, y is going to be the value 0, and it's of type int. When you use var and you give it a type, it sets the variable to the 0 value. And the 0 value is different for different types. And you can look up 0 value by going to the language spec, once again, Golang spec. And you could search for 0 value. And here's the 0 value. And 0 value is bool, it's false for bool, 0 for integers, 0 for floats, empty for strings, and nil for pointers, functions, interfaces, slices, channels, and maps. Okay? So take a screenshot of that. Got it? Cool. All right, and we could also do, so then I could assign a value to y if I want, and I've already declared the variable, so I just use the equal sign. And now run it, and that all works. And now I could also do, instead of assigning a value, so notice the difference here, I've declared a variable of type int, I've declared it. And then now I'm going to assign a value to it. I've assigned a value to it. And when you do all of that at once, that's called initialize, okay? So declare a variable of type int and assign a value to it. And this is, I initialized the variable y. I declared and assigned a value to it. So declared and assigned is initialize. So we have values. So we have a value. The value is 43. It is of type int, and we are storing it in a variable. Does that make sense? We have a value. It is of a type int, and we're storing it in a variable. And this will also run. Kapow! So those are the only ways you really need to know to work with variables in Go. You have the short declaration operator, which will initialize a variable. And then you also have the var method, where you could use this anywhere in the program. Hold on. All right, I forget what I was saying, but short declaration operator inside of a code block. The scope of that is just the code block from wherever you use it to the end of the code block. This scope is now package scope, so I could access this anywhere in a package. And importantly, if it's lowercase, it's not available outside the package. If it's uppercase, it would be available outside the package. Okay, so it'd be part of the package And that's how you do exported or not exported, or visible, not visible outside a package. We don't say public and private because that comes with too much baggage. So that's variables in the Go programming language. If you want to get to this, this code right here, you could go to that URL, n7-brx8ucz at play.golang.org. And that's it, man. I hope this was helpful to you. Like this video, because when you like the video, it makes the video be found by more people, and then that means that I get paid a little bit because ads run, and then that's beer money. So when you like the video, that translates to beer for me. All right, thank you very much, and I hope this was helpful.